What's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great day. We're going to skip the intro here. We're going to go right to business. Today you are going to see a first impressions drive, finally, of a 2022 Tundra. I'm expecting it within the next few minutes. So we're going to take that thing out and we're going to give it a drive. I've never driven a 2022 Tundra yet. I've never been in a 2022 Tundra yet. The only Tundra 2022 that I've seen is the base model SR5 a couple times that we walked around. So everything is going to be filmed. We're going to do the whole deal. I'm going to give you all my impressions, good and bad. We're going to start this video right though. After this part, we're going to go outside. When the truck arrives, we're going to go outside and drive the 2020 TRD Pro Tundra, just so I can have that driving feel of that last generation Tundra before I hop into the new generation Tundra, so I could give you a better idea of what I like and what I dislike. Through this week with the truck, you're going to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. My plan at the end is to give you a summary saying, should you spend your money on a next generation Tundra or not? The trucks are not cheap. You're looking at 60,000 plus depending on package. We're getting a limited TRD Off-Road Crew Max 5.5 foot bed. This is not the hybrid. This is the regular I-Force engine, 3.5 liter V6 twin turbo. So we're going to dissect it and we're going to see what we like and what we dislike. Now going into this, I want everyone to know I am a huge fan of not just my 2020 Tundra, but especially the 20 and 21 Tundras. I've owned a lot of them. I've owned an 07 all the way up until this 2020. I've test drove 2021s, everything like that. I think the stuff that they did in 2018 when they introduced Toyota Safety Sense, a different gauge cluster, they started there with all that. And then up in 2020, we started to get things like Entune 3.0, a bigger screen, push button start. We started to get things like, well, we lost the transmission cooler, which is a big deal for a lot of people out there if you tow. So that was one thing past 2018 a lot of people aren't a fan of. But for those of us that don't tow a lot, I always said that the 2020 and 2021 felt like a different truck versus the older Tundras. The engine was recalibrated. The engine and transmission work flawlessly together. The engine just feels responsive at all times. There's no lag. There's no, like when you're going 50 miles an hour and you have to slow down to 35 and then you want to get back up to speed. It doesn't feel like the transmission is lost. The thing is ready to go, gets right back up to speed. And that's coming off of a 2017 Supercharged Platinum that I had. I thought I was going to get into a 2020 and really dislike it. So right now, I'm team 2020 all the way. There's a reason I haven't sold this truck yet. I really like the truck. I was waiting on the hybrid Tundras, but if these trucks don't wow me, I'm going to stick with this because of all the Tundras I've owned, I love this 2020 TRD Pro so much. The small things that I always talked about early in the channel back in 2016 and 17, they finally did, not just with the TRD Pro package in 2020, but what they did with the truck in general in 2020 with those features, the app that I could start the truck from. They just modernized the truck enough, and we were able to keep that 5.7 liter V8 that we know and love, and the body style, which I absolutely can't get enough of, all right? So that's enough rambling. The next scene you're going to see, we're going to take a ride in the 2020 TRD Pro. Quick little ride. I'm going to talk about some of the things, about that truck as I'm driving for you to pay attention to. And at the end of this week, we're going to figure out if less is more wins, or is the new Tundra with all the features and all the good stuff that a lot of us has asked for so long, is that the way to go? So stay tuned. First the 2020 and then the 2022. Thanks for being here. Okay, she just arrived. We're not going to focus on that yet. We're going to focus on this 2020 TRD Pro. Take a little ride in this so we can compare better to the 2022. So let's get in. All right, starting her up. Big old V8, can't go wrong, we know that already. TRD Dual Exhaust is the thing that I'm going to miss most about the 14 to 21s, even the 07 to 21s. The TRD Dual Exhaust is fantastic. I'm sure eventually they'll come out with some TRD exhaust, for the new truck, but I don't think it's going to be for a while. But who knows? So let's take a quick ride in this thing. This is a good camera view, so I could just show you everything, because the theme of this is going to be less is more. I've been saying that on this channel for such a long time. Less is more with the Tundra, and I say that in a good way. We got a big old V8, 6-speed transmission, TRD dual exhaust. This setup right here, the camera looks good with it, right? Very easy to use, very user-friendly. The old Entune around 14, 15, and 16, it wasn't bad. There was a lot of glitches in at least the trucks that I owned and drove. This one here, Entune 3.0, 1 inch bigger than the old screen. It works flawlessly, it's easy to use. The climate control system is fantastic in this. Remember, I'm trying to compare apples to apples as best I can. I don't have a TRD Pro sitting in the driveway for 2022, but the TRD Pro is built off of a limited platform. So we should have a lot of the same things, you know, that truck we're about to sit in does. But who knows, because it is the next generation. I'm telling you, they just pulled in the driveway. They left. I got in this Tundra right here. We're going to take this for, you know, a few blocks. Listen to that exhaust. 30 miles an hour, the best TRD dual exhaust experience. Sure, it's when you get on it, but it's also right now when you go nice and easy and it's going up through the gears. It's not obnoxious. It's a nice growl. Love the fact, here's the things I love about this truck. And I'm going to be doing a video soon on the 2-year update, because I've owned this thing for 2 years in March, early March. So we're going to do a real, you know, deep dive on this truck. But the things I absolutely love about it, I love the compartment here, which I'm sure we're going to have in the next gen as well. Never sat in a next gen yet, as I said earlier in this video. I like the center console. I like being separated from the passenger. It's a lot of room here. I don't feel like I'm enclosed in any way to the point where it's uncomfortable. Just everything is right here for me to use. There's not a lot of extras. The truck is very basic, again, in a great way. So this should be a lot of fun, just to take this thing for a little bit of a ride, just get a good feel. I want to feel what the suspension is like compared to the new one. This is the Fox suspension because it's the Pro. The limited TRD off-road has the Bilstein suspension with the 20-inch TRD wheels and the 20-inch tires, of course, you know, all-terrain. So we're going to see how that feels compared to this. One thing I will say, in 2020, and I focused on this in the beginning of the video, in 2020 and 2021, I felt like they really refined the Tundra, but they didn't talk about it a lot. When I say refined, I mean the steering feels better. The truck doesn't really feel like it's all over the road in a way of a sway situation. This one just feels like it gets down the road nicely. It doesn't really bump over everything, and that could have a lot to do with the Fox suspension, so let's keep that in mind as well. But just overall, I also drove a I believe it was a 2020 1794. It didn't have an off-road package, and that also felt great. I talked about the engine response. The thing is amazing. It just, I'm telling you, 2020 blew my mind, and I really thought I was going to get into the truck. Hold on, let me shut up, because this is what you guys want to hear. Here comes TRD Dual Exhaust, you know? Just, you can't beat that. It just rides through the gears so nice, smooth. It's not jerky or anything like that. It's a nice, smooth experience. Absolutely in love with this truck. It will be very hard to say goodbye to this when the time does come. But like I was saying, I don't really remember what I was saying before that, but with this truck right here, you know, they did small, oh, that's what I was saying, yes, the suspension. And the overall truck experience, at first I thought it was just the TRD Pro because of the Fox suspension, why everything felt so good. But then, you know, when I started to drive other 2020s and 2021s, I realized this is just the way the Tundra is now. I thought I was going to be very upset coming from the 2017 supercharged, going into this, going back to naturally aspirated, and I wasn't at all. This thing was a pleasure. This is my favorite Tundra that I've ever owned, to be completely honest with you. This is my 6th Tundra, I believe. I had an 07, an 09, a 14, a 16, a 17, and a 20, yes. But I've had a lot of press loan Tundras. I've driven a lot of different Tundras. I'm blessed for that. I'm glad I'm able to get out there and absolutely, you know, be able to give you guys my opinions on these trucks. They're fantastic trucks. So I'm going to be holding the 2022 Tundra very accountable. We've talked about it for months. We finally today are able to get a press vehicle on it. Well, now, you know, put your money where your mouth is, I guess. We're going to see if the thing is awesome. It does look really good when it rolled up. It does have some chrome on it. You guys know I'm not a big chrome guy. Today's just going to be the driving impressions and the first impressions being in the truck. Next video after this, it'll be a true walk around, and we'll bring up the, you know, the window sticker and everything, and we'll talk about every little detail. But in closing, with this 2020, right there on that turn, sharp turn, the old truck would have been swaying all over the road where I need the sway bar. This doesn't have the TRD sway bar or anything like that. But this truck is just such a pleasure, and every time I get behind the wheel, almost 2 years of ownership, I still get that feeling like it's a new truck, and I absolutely love it. All right, I'm sorry about the wind. It's a little crazy out with the wind today, but here we are. This is it. We're getting in it. Like I said, we'll do a walk around to this TRD off-road 4x4 composite bed, Crew Max, got cameras everywhere. Haven't been in it yet. I'm walking up to it with you for the first time. Those big old Wild Peak all-terrains. Those are some big tires, man. They look good. They look good. Here, just check out the front real quick. Whoop. Drop something. All right, here we go. Let's get in this thing. Big screen in there. Seat moving automatically. Way too close to the steering wheel for me. So it has the old school, we'll call it, gauge cluster. It doesn't have the digital one, but that's fine. It smells like a new truck in here. Oh, dude. No moonroof. No pano roof. All right, let's get in this thing and we'll start her up and set everything up. This is very techy. This is like going from a World War II plane to an F-22 Raptor. So this should be an experience. I like the center console a lot with the trays on the top. Center console looks gigantic. But let's give it a whirl. All right, sitting in the truck, just got in. Seats are very comfortable, so let's start this thing up. I'm way too far back. Seat controls, same as the old Tundra. Gotta love it. Red TRD start button. All right, no joke, first impression, it sounded like a Camry starting up. 3.5 liter V6. All right, cool. So the screen's humongous. Humongous. Welcome. Okay. I gotta show you. I gotta pull it up on the phone real quick. You need to see this. Set this up for you. The sun's kind of glaring in a little bit, but I don't think you understand how big this screen is until you're sitting in here. It's pretty insane, pretty intense. All right, we're ready to go. Let's do this thing. Seatbelt, of course. I'm trying to get a second shot here because I don't have the moonroof that I thought I'd be getting to have the camera mounted there like we did in the other truck, but here we go. Mirrors looking good, everything looks good. Truck, like the sight lines are a little bit different. I'll tell you that right off the bat. This feels like the first time I was ever in the new Camaro. When I say new, I mean like 2010. I have a feeling this is gonna feel a lot like a car. It already feels a lot different than the truck we were just in. All right, here we go. We're straightened out now, we're going. We're gonna keep the camera rolling. All right, to our first stop sign. Sight lines are good though, I will tell you that. Here we go. It's got a nice sound to it. I don't know if they're feeding in sound, but it sounds like a truck. It feels like an SUV. Just, we're hitting bumps right now. It's not a bad feeling. It just doesn't have that feeling. I felt the same way when I drove the Ford 2.7 liter EcoBoost, the F-150. My brother owned one a while ago, video ages ago. It felt like you were driving an SUV. This already, just from that 2 seconds of driving, feels like that as well. Not necessarily a bad thing, just different. The Tundra was old school platform, old school everything, and it felt like you were literally driving a big old pickup truck. Of course, it is now 3:41 p.m. and everyone is trying to get home on this road, so we're gonna be here for a moment. Overall, as far as inside the truck, it feels a little smaller in here than the other one. Not awful. Here we go. Let's see what we got here. Let's get this thing out here and hit the pedal. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she gets up to speed pretty good. It's got a nice growl to it. I need to know, if anyone is an owner of the truck, Tim from Pickup Truck and SUV Talk, help me out. Is that fed in, or is that really the engine? Because it sounds like it's got a nice growl to it. I mean, it's no TRD Dual Exhaust, but brakes feel really good. Brakes feel tight. Steering, everything feels like a modernized truck. Very F-150 like in the feel. Steering wheel's awesome. Feels like it's a lot bigger than the other one. I don't know if it really is, or it's just that everything kind of shrunk down a little, or the fact that I'm looking at a Jumbotron as an infotainment screen over here. That's gigantic. That's a different kind of gigantic right there. I don't even know what to say. And you're doing the same thing I'm talking about right here, but on screen, if you're watching like YouTube like I usually do, it never looked that big, man. But in person, that's a big screen right there. I feel like I'm in a WWE event or something. Fix the mirror here a little bit. Mirror looks awesome. This thing's pretty much fully loaded. It doesn't have the pano roof. We'll go over this sticker tomorrow. I believe this truck is just north of $60,000. This is the Limited, so we know the Limited last generation, that was the truck everybody wanted, kind of the middle of the range. It gave you the SR5 characteristics, but it gave you some luxury features. These seats are very different from the old Tundra seats, I'll tell you that. You're really sitting down in them. It definitely feels like there's some bolstering. Feels more like the 4Runner seat, if that makes any sense to you. Gauge cluster is very, very similar to what I was just in with the 2020. There also is a 12-inch digital gauge cluster, which comes up in the upper trims of the Tundra and the hybrids. But steering wheel is leather wrapped. It looks like a racing wheel. It's got a little flat spot on the bottom and everything. All of your controls are up there, you know, your cruise control, your radio controls, everything like that. I'll be honest with you, other than the gigantic screen, the center stack area, like all your climate control and everything, kind of looks like every other Toyota out there. I have auto stop start on. We just turned that thing off because now Tundra has auto stop start. No one's really a big fan of that. I mean, you got your trailer views. You could hit view buttons and see in front of you, behind you. This has 360. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons here, which is awesome. Let's see what we got. All right, back to business here. All right, so right now I have the audio screen up. I'm not going to put audio on right now because of copyright reasons, of course, but traveling down the road, and it has like that newer Toyota feel. A lot of Camry stuff, you know, in here, as far as, you know, when it comes to the little infotainment screen. It's showing me the speed limit of the road like it does in the Camry and some of the newer Toyotas. So they really did modernize, you know, the Tundra. The windshield has a different look to it, way more sleek than the old one. The hood, typical Tundra hood look. Truck doesn't feel as different as I thought it would when it comes to just getting down the road. I'm already very comfortable with it. It doesn't feel bad. The shifter, the whole new design of the shifter in the center console, the driver compartment I was talking about earlier, the driver compartment here is just as good. But like I said, the inside of the truck does feel a little bit tighter. I don't know if that's real, if that's actually the case or not, or if it's just, you know, sight lines and everything. But I'm a fan of, and a lot of people disagree with me here, and feel free to in the comments below, I'm a fan of being separated from everything when I'm driving. Not just for the fact that a water bottle can fall down on the floor, roll under your pedals, and then you have, you know, trouble stopping the vehicle. Not even that. I just like the cockpit feel of it, like, you know, nothing is in this but me and all the controls of the truck. As far as the less is more aspect, there is a lot more in this truck compared to the one we were just in, for sure. But this still doesn't feel like it's overly annoying. It doesn't feel like there's a lot in this truck. It doesn't feel like there's too much going on to where I don't understand things. I would have to take my time and figure out this infotainment screen, but overall, everything is fairly similar to what it used to be. And I mean that with like the center stack and, you know, just the gauge cluster in general. I'm used to the climate controls from other Toyotas. There's not a lot of different stuff. I've been saying this for years, that eventually when they do the next generation for Tundra, they're going to make it like all the other Toyotas out there. There's going to be a lot of characteristics of all Toyotas. As far as the just the setup of the dash and everything, with the vents, I love the square vents. It does look a lot more modern than the 14 to 21 in my opinion. I think it looks more futuristic. There's nothing really bad looking about the 14 to 21. This just looks like, you know, a new design Tundra. So they kept a lot of the characteristics. They changed some stuff. That big window in the back still goes all the way down. That was something I was bringing up over and over again, that's something they have to keep. That is a Tundra only exclusive when it comes to the half-ton pickups. No one has a full window that goes all the way down like that. But the Limited may be the way to go here. Just a pleasure so far to drive. It doesn't feel terrible. It feels a lot like, if I had to pick a Tundra that it was like from the past, we were talking about how the 20 and 21s felt a lot different as far as the other Tundras out there, the other years, like 14 to 19. The 20 and 21 to me felt like they had more get up and go, more power. The braking felt better, the steering, the handling, all of it felt better. This kind of has that same vibe to it. I'll tell you one thing that stands out right away. The brakes are phenomenal in this. Stops the truck without, like, you know, really stopping the truck. Like, it really glides the truck to a stop. Engine wise, I mean, it's kind of what I expected. When you put your foot down on it, it wants to go, slam you back in the seat a little bit. Problem is, we're driving in, you know, rush hour traffic right now, because that's when the truck was delivered. So we got to take what we can get. We have all week with the truck, but very comfortable. Big mirrors, blind spot monitoring. I see my light on right there. Let me try to get into this lane. You always got to look, even when you have blind spot monitors. The mirrors are very good. Just like the last Tundra, I always said the Tundra 14 to 21 had the best mirrors in the half-ton game. This also has some fantastic mirrors. They're not super small. They're nice and large, and like I said, you got blind spot monitoring, so you got that as an added level of protection for when you're in traffic like I am in right now, because New Jersey traffic, you know, it's not the most fun thing to be in. Everyone trying to get home on a Friday. But yeah, I don't know. So pros and cons. Let's go over the initial pros and cons of the truck. Pros, there is, I should say, a lot of stuff in this that remind me of the old Tundra. It's not as we threw everything out and started over as I thought it would feel like. It still feels like I'm in a Toyota vehicle. They changed what they needed to change. Suspension, we're going over a bridge that, you know, is a sectional kind of bridge. You can hear it, right? Bump, bump. Rides really nice over the bumps. Also, one thing I remembered right now, we're in regular mode, right? So there's different modes here. So you can put it in sport and all that. Drive mode, I see the button down below on this little rotary dial. So if I hit drive mode, eco, normal, and sport, I just put it into sport. This big screen just told me I'm in sport mode now. Yeah, now I heard the turbo kick a little bit on that, so I'm guessing this is the one everybody's gonna wanna be in. Eco, normal, sport are your three options with that. Sport will make it so the shifting's going to change, the truck's going to feel a little bit different here. Probably a great time in sport. Yep, you can hear the turbos. And listen, if you're going to spend money on a 3.5 liter V6 twin turbo, you probably want to hear it. So on a 1 to 10 right now in this truck, let me go around these turns and see if this thing has the sway of last generation or not. First turn, it's got a little lean, but nothing crazy. You know, I like it. I like it. I'm not blown away by it, but it's day one. It's a nice truck. I like the fact that there's a little bit of old school Tundra still in the truck. It seems like it's very fast if you want it to be. It seems well put together. I like the layout around the driver. It doesn't seem as futuristic as I thought it would, and I mean that in a positive way. I thought there'd be just buttons everywhere where I didn't know what I was doing. But overall, you know, I'm pleasantly surprised with it. There's been a lot of stuff being said online that people aren't really liking them. And this is a deep turn here. No, it holds pretty well. It corners nicely. Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, this thing has some get up and go when you get your foot down on the pedal, especially in sport mode. And you got to make sure you turn off the auto stop start. I mean, that's a given these days. But a comfortable truck to drive. I definitely would say go drive it yourself. Don't knock it before you try it, I guess. This is my first time behind the wheel. And you know what? It wasn't one of those wholesale, throw the old truck out, we're doing a new truck, and that's just the way it is. I think they took a lot of heritage from this truck, or from the older truck, and kind of brought it in here. Little things here and there, not everything. Don't forget, there's no more V8 in this truck, which seems to be what everybody's very disappointed in. Yeah, that engine sounds awesome. Yeah, sport mode is where you're going to get your power. That definitely throws you back in the seat. So if you're into the power, this may be the way to go. You know, the hybrid is going to be an option as well, and that's going to give you even more power. But don't forget, the hybrid's going to be about $4 or $5 grand more. Yeah, sport mode. Write that down when you test drive your truck. Write it down so you don't forget. Sport mode is how you're going to want to drive this truck. It really does bring it alive. Kind of like tow haul mode in the old truck. Let's get a turn out here on the ocean road. I like the sound. The sound's a lot better than I thought it would be. I thought it would be an awful sound, to be completely honest with you, being a V6. But again, I need to figure out if it's being fed into me, the sound, or not, or if it really just is that neat. This truck has 1,492 miles on the odometer. I am not the first person reviewing this truck, which is a good sign. Other people have reviewed it. This is in the Supersonic Red. This is the truck we saw in all the promo videos when the truck came out. Supersonic Red looks great. Has some chrome on it. I'd have to take care of that. That lip, that's everything we're going to talk about when we walk around the truck tomorrow. This is just my first impression drive. So I still didn't give you guys a 1 to 10 on my first impression drive. 1 being the worst truck I've ever driven, 10 being the absolute best thing in the world. I'll give this a 6. I'm gonna give this a 6 for now. That could change through the week. One thing I said I would say at the end of every video that we make about this truck. Right now, at this point, would I trade in my 2020 TRD Pro 5.7 V8 for this right now at this point? I don't know yet. I don't know. I don't think I would trade for this limited. I really want to see what the hybrid has to offer. I don't know. That's a tough question to answer. I love that TRD Pro. I love it. But this thing does have a lot to offer. I like the modern things that they have done to it, but you know, it's all about the cost at the end of the day. Trading in a $56,000 TRD Pro, which is the top of the line special color Pro for that year, for a $60-something thousand limited with all the modern tech and stuff, it's going to be to each their own. For me, I'd have to stay in the Pro as of right now, but we will see as we drive this truck more along the week. This is just our first time out. We had a lot of traffic, so we weren't able to experience a true open road kind of experience. So through the week, we will do that. Tomorrow or the next day, we're going to do a walk around to the truck, and we're going to talk about the features, the aspects of it, as per what's on the outside, what's on the inside. How does it look compared to the older gen as far as body style? We already know what you guys think about the engine, but you can chime in on that if you want to. So far, so good. So we're going with a 6. You know what? I watch a lot of Dave Portnoy and the pizza reviews. He does one bite. Everybody knows the rules. So that's a rookie score of 6. I'm going to give it a 6.2. 6.2 so far. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I thank you guys for watching. Till next time, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Tundra Dude 34, TundraDude34@gmail.com. You guys let me know what you want to see with this truck for the week. So far, so good. It's a passing grade right now. But we're going to have to see what happens along the way. So until next time, guys, I appreciate you being here. Take care, be safe, and be well. All right, I've been driving it around a little while, and I just want to say sport mode is definitely the way to really enjoy this engine. I had that back window down, and it sounds like it has an actual roar to it. It's not something that's fed in. Could be totally wrong. But, you know, been experiencing the handling a little bit. Handles great. Sounds really good compared to what I expected it to sound like. And it does have quite a bit of pickup. So far, so good, but I will keep you guys informed. Just wanted to give you the update that sport mode really did bring it alive as we expected. So we continue on down the road with this review. Till next time, have a good one.